Welcome back to another training session with Melody. So for this one, I'm going to be doing a little bit of pole work with her. Nothing too extreme, fairly simple, fairly easy. So to start with, I just kind of did my usual warming her up, having her walk around the arena a couple times just to get her muscles loosened up. Then, after she was warmed up, I took her, you're going to see here in just a second. We walk over these poles that I have laying down, and eventually we're going to be trotting over these, but I just wanted to walk her the first time so that she could just have a go over and, just be aware that they're there and to kind of check the spacing of them. So, um, I went over them, thought they were fine, thought the spacing was good. So after that, we're going to kick it up into a trot here and start with kind of my patterns that I was going to do with her. So I wanted to go over the poles and then I wanted to do a turn at the end and come back over the poles. So it's kind of making like a bow tie in a way. And that was just to kind of help with like suppleness. And then also the poles are just really good to help get her to round and lift her back up into me more. So here we go, the first time over them. And honestly, she does it really good. She did great going over the poles every time I took her over them. She never moved them or had anything like that. Occasionally she would, nick one every now and again, but other than that, she did really good. So we just make the nice little turn, come back. I didn't quite have the best line coming into there, but it still worked out good. And then we just come down again, come down here, do the same thing. Hindsight, I probably should have put the poles a little bit more in the center of the arena. I just wasn't overly thinking at the time. So there she just went ahead and just kind of stopped, which is fine. Like, I mean, we're slowly working on conditioning and getting her to the point where, it's not going to be asking a lot to keep her going. But right now she's just slowly working up and building up more stamina and stuff. So there we go, over the poles again. Looks lovely. Come down here, make another left hand turn to head back towards the poles to go over them again. And you can see like she's not bracing as bad as she was in the previous session, but she still is kind of bracy a little bit. So we're still working on it some. Then I just had a little issue with the camera, so we lost a little bit of footage there, but still on the same pattern. So I'd had her turn. We're coming back, and you can see she's starting to really round herself and engage her muscles more, and it's just looking a lot better, a lot prettier. So then we come down again, same thing, do a circle, and you can see right there, like, there's still that little bit of tension when I go to ask her to turn, but she did do better, with having the bridle on to kind of reinforce, hey, we need to turn more. It's definitely still something that we need to work on is getting our bending slash steering going better. Like you can see, there's still some brace, but slowly getting better and not as bad as it was. So there she just shakes out, blows her head. Then we go back over them again, and she's just doing so nice with them. Like you can see spacing wise, she's getting almost to the center of them each time. So after that, I just stopped her, had a little walk session, and then we picked it back up again at the trot to head back over the poles. And right there, overshot the turn, and that's because she wasn't wanting to turn. So still fighting that, but we did manage to make it. And now, instead of doing my go down turn, the little kind of bow tie, I just did it into kind of go down, and then we're going to make a nice big loop around and come all the way around and just hit them the exact same direction again. So we'll almost end up doing like kind of a figure eight. This is why I said I should have probably had the poles in the center of the arena. Hindsight is, hindsight I should have, but at the time I wasn't intending to do kind of like a figure eight-ish like this with the poles. So it definitely makes going to the right a lot trickier because that is a lot smaller of a gap over there to turn. But look at her starting to get that nice frame. We're starting to have moments of good right there. It's starting to, slowly come into play and slowly get better and better. Then we go ahead. We do not overshoot our turn this time, so that was fantastic. We come back to the poles, go over them, and you can see she's pretty much landing right in the middle of each pole, which is phenomenal. Then we go to the left, make a nice turn. You can see way bigger turning area. Really should have considered moving them, but I wasn't thinking about doing this. This was just kind of improvised as the session had gone on, and she was doing really good kind of with the bow tie. So you can see again we're having a little bit of fighting with the turning, but much better come into it this time versus the last one. And right there she just blew out again, relaxing. And then yeah, goes over it completely flawlessly, does amazing. So I go to the right and just kind of continue on with the pattern, still going nice. There we go. We're getting a better frame. And notice how she's like more up in her front end versus before she wasn't as up. She was level, but now we're starting to get up. So here you can see a little bit of that stickiness still in the not wanting to fully turn and bend. So we're going to work on that. Definitely going to work on it, but she's getting a lot more up, which was one of my aims with the poles, is it does get her thinking up more instead of down. So then we go ahead, we stop, give her a little rubbing, back her up a little bit just to, get her back on her hindquarters, and then that is the end of our session.